Thank you, Michael. Good morning, everybody. Top of the morning. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Reverend Edward Trout. My pronouns are he, him. I am very passionate about empowering and uplifting others, and I'm an ordained interfaith minister through One Spirit Seminary out of New York. And as always, it's my pleasure to be your speaker here today. A couple of weeks ago, I was able to give a talk on unplugging, on taking that time to step away from some negative thoughts, negative influences, our thoughts of failure. And then last week, Reverend Michael gave such a beautiful talk on elevating our thoughts, starting with some vulnerability and some honesty. And speaking for myself, that was a beautiful place for me to look at how I show up and how I can elevate. Because when we're talking about elevating, he was talking about last week, from coming up from the valley to the mountain to see the mountain view. We're talking about elevating up into love. That's the elevation, is love. As we know from John, right? God is, oh, that was sad. You know the answer already. It's not a trick question. God is right. So we are seeking to elevate, to look to love, to look to God, to connect with the divine mind. Those two greatest commandments. Love your God with all of your heart, all of your mind, all of your soul. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you remember the moment that that particular statement came out, the Pharisees were trying to trick Jesus and asking him, what's the greatest commandment? Because in theory, there shouldn't be a greatest, right? They all matter. But he doesn't hesitate. Love God. That's the greatest one. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, because all of the other laws, all of the other things that we strive for hinge on those two principles. Are you loving God? Are you loving your neighbor? Because God is love. God is good. God is everywhere present. Therefore, God is acting through us. God is in us, living as us. If you are like most people, however, there may be moments that doesn't feel true. I'm guessing most of us have experienced the moments where we just don't feel like God is indwelling, and I'm just some person who is failing and doing all of these things that seem not godlike or godly. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands. I'm just assuming there are a lot of us that have felt that way at one point or another. We can feel small, right? The way that Michael so bravely talked about those things last week. There was a short video that I had the pleasure of watching that was from Unity on the Bay, and it was Reverend Juan Delorio, who we had the distinct pleasure of getting to see out at Unity Village for the Unity graduation and ordination. Charming and charismatic speaker. In this video, he was talking about God, the divine, dwelling within us. And this is not verbatim what he said, but these are the main points that he said. God and divinity dwelling within you does not mean that you are perfect. It does not mean you have all the answers. And sometimes when we see our imperfections, or we realize that we don't have the answers, we stop believing in God connecting in us. But there is wisdom in you. There is wisdom in each of us. We hold that God is not separate from us. God is not separate from you. That means that within you is a presence far greater than your fear. And it shows up in your thoughts, and it shows up in your choices, and it shows up in the way that you show up in this world. And it's not something that any of us have to go find. It's something we simply have to remember. God is love. Today's daily word used Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. If anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other, just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also forgive. Because if God is in me and God is in you, how can I hold on to that anger toward you. You're an aspect of love. Holding anger toward love makes no sense, right? Or as Jesus said in Matthew verse 5, don't give your offering with anger in your heart. Leave it at the altar and go make peace. We can't hold on to our highest ideals and hold on to our resentment. Those two things don't coexist well. If we're wanting our highest ideals, we have to be willing to forgive and to let go. There's a beautiful song, Hold On to Love by Roger Tomhave, that we've sung multiple times. But not hold on to resentment, not hold on to anger, don't hold on to hate, hold on to love, right? There's a saying, and I've seen it in various forms, usually attributed as a Buddhist saying, that if you hold on to anger or resentment towards somebody, it's the same thing as drinking poison and hoping that they die. Like, you're the one that is consuming the poison by holding that. There's a talk that Eric Butterworth gave years ago. He has obviously since made his transition, but Eric Butterworth was a well-known Unity author and minister. He served for many years, but he gave a talk on love. And so again, this is not verbatim, but I'm going to hit a lot of the points that he talked about. The importance of realizing that the central force of truth is love. And the true teaching of spirituality and truth is about love, which is not a thing. We see love as a noun. It's this thing, maybe a thing we hold, maybe a thing we give. But he talks about how love thy neighbor has become so cliche. We say it, we sometimes even think it or mean it, but it's not so much anything that I would give to a neighbor. Love thy neighbor means that you see them as the love they are. That's the love of thy neighbor. If love were something that I could give my neighbor, I can give it and then feel like I'm done, right? That's transactional. I gave that love. I'm already done with that. Look how good I am. That's not it. It's my perception. It's my own reality. It's the way I have to view people. So seeing you as love is something I have to constantly hold. Not give once, not give 1,000 times. It's a constant mindset. And I love, he talks about the idea that we could be asked to go out and give money to some stranger on the street. He's like, I don't mind giving money to a friend, but to just go give something to a stranger, taking something out of my pocket and giving to them, I don't know what they're going to do with it. They'll probably do something I don't even want them to do with it, right? So even that act isn't about what I'm giving. It's about acting lovingly. See them as love and act lovingly toward them. It's our attitude, it's our perception. That's what we give to our neighbor. So if we stop viewing our neighbors in love, what we're doing is extinguishing our own inner light. It doesn't hurt them nearly as much as it hurts us. And it takes discipline. And here's part of the also tricky part. We are to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. In other words, the manner in which we treat our neighbor is a direct reflection of how we see ourselves. We may have to elevate our view of ourselves in order to get there. The place of giving shouldn't come from an obligation. It comes from a place of so much love, so much self-love, so much seeing that love in ourselves that it overflows, and we have no choice but to give it and to see it. There's a point made about some people can give in a very worldly sense. So they'll give, and they'll give of their money, and they end up depleting themselves because they were giving out of obligation and out of trying to be seen as a good person and all of these other things. They're not giving from a true place of love. And when that happens, you will deplete yourself. Remember a few weeks back, Louise Dunn gave a great talk on how to be a bold and brave receiver, right? That we get so that we can give. We are trained so much about how much we give, and it is important to give. But if you don't receive, you're an empty vessel and there is nothing to give from, or from which to give, for my grammarians out there. So we have to be able to receive and to give and receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. And all of this stuff, every lesson from Scripture, every lesson from any sacred text, anything that Jesus ever said, anything that Buddha ever said, it's about you. You. Did they write it individually for you? Not at the time, but it is meant to be personal, which means it is a letter to you. It all is. So that give and receive. If we can receive until we are in overflow, the giving comes naturally. Does that make sense? I'm seeing a lot of I'm getting blank stares now. It's okay. I know I've been talking a lot. But receive so that you can give. As Michael sang so beautifully earlier, love is the river that flows through, right? Love is the arms that hold you. Love is the place you will fly to, and love never fails you. So if it's failing you, it's not the love that is failing. That can seem especially tough when you're in a moment, say, of if there's a relationship that breaks up and your heart is broken. You're like, but I loved them. Yes, the love didn't fail. It's all the other worldly things that failed. The love is still there. The love is what you feel. The love is good. It doesn't mean there won't be pain with it. Marianne Williamson, famously back in the 90s, had Returned to Love, right? That book that brought A Course in Miracles to the broad consciousness, I believe via Oprah, right? That was where Marianne made the biggest splash. So A Course in Miracles, and I'm certainly no expert. You can ask Reverend Susan about more details on this. But A Course in Miracles says, amongst other things, there is no love but God's love. So any love, if it is love, is from God. And that God, being love, is also happiness. Sometimes we start feeling guilty when we feel happy. But that's an aspect of God. That's God showing up. So in short, teaching that God is love and that love is our true reality, that means it's unconditional love and it's limitless love and it's shared by everybody. So recognizing that is one of our keys to that elevation. This all feels very intellectual so far, I think, which is why I'm getting the glazed looks. So, again, for further questions about A Course in Miracles, ask Reverend Susan. But we're looking at how can we make this practical? What are things I can do? Because unity, if nothing, should be practical. We want to put things into practice. So when we are feeling down, when our hearts grow silent, right? When the sky is falling down, when we can't turn back around, how do we remember that nothing is greater than love? I had found some great little pointers from Unity of Greater Portland. If we want to go to the next slide. So there are some practices that can help you return to love. So these are to see the divine in others. And you can do that simply by looking at them and saying, I honor the light in you, silently. Listen with compassion, not just closing your mouth to allow them space to talk, but actually listen with compassion. Bless across boundaries. So offering blessings to different kinds of people and places and traditions. Give from the heart, which can be time, attention, kindness. We know in tithing we talk about tithing our time, tithing our talent and our treasures. Celebrate diversity. Learn about other spiritual paths. Every spiritual path has beauty and love in it. There's also, if you want something that's a tiny bit more hands-on, random acts of kindness. And I pulled some of these from the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation site. They had some studies listed that talked about the benefits of making these connections through random acts of kindness. So when you witness that happen, when you see it or somebody else sees you do it, it produces oxytocin, and that will help lower blood pressure. It'll help improve your overall heart health and increases our self-esteem and optimism just by doing random acts of kindness. You will also, at least half of the participants in the study reported they felt stronger and more energetic. They also reported feeling calmer and less depressed with greater feelings of self-worth. And people who volunteered tend to experience fewer aches and pains. Giving help to others protects overall health. Get this, protects overall health twice as much as aspirin protects against heart disease. People 55 and older who volunteered for 2 or more organizations have an impressive 44% lower likelihood of dying early. And that's after sifting out all of the other contributing factors. They say that this is a stronger effect than exercising 4 times a week, volunteering 2 places or more, better benefits than exercising 4 times a week, or going to church. I still want to see you here, but those are benefits from doing random acts. So some random acts of kindness. Smile at people. I wish Joe Hurt was here, but smile at people. Silently bless somebody. And this is my go-to when I'm getting irritated in traffic, is to try to silently bless them. Bless them on their way. Compliment somebody. Hold a door open for somebody. Anytime you visit somebody, take them some small gift. Could be anything. And leave positive messages on sticky notes for others. Bless you, I think. Or was that, if that was a cough, still bless you. For those of you that are thinking, this is nice, but I've tried that and I still need more, hold on. There are projects. We can go on to the next one. So, full out projects that you can do. Gratitude letters, gratitude to people in your life, gratitude to yourself, compliment cards that you create and decorate, kindness rocks. I think most of us have experienced those, just little flat rocks usually with lovely messages on them or images. Kindness bookmarks, warm weather kits. We are in the middle of summer. How can we help people, especially perhaps the unhoused, who may need more help in the warm weather? Care facility notes, which can be uplifting for the residents and the staff, and many more things. There are printouts available in the fountain room for all of these projects, and there are more projects available at the site for Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. These things elevate us. These things come from a place of love that benefits us. We're receiving as we're giving, right? Use all the spiritual tools, but if you need to see your difference in front of you, do these things. You can do them daily, weekly, monthly, hourly, whatever works for you. So, we've talked about concepts, we've talked about practical things.